Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. For this week's video, we're going to be taking a look at the smooth edition of Original by BluMaan. For those of you who are new here, I do already have a product review on the first edition of Original. I'll link that in the first line of the description so you guys can go and check that out. The reason why I urge you to do so is because the purpose of this video is basically to give you guys a quick, nice and compact summary of how the smooth edition compares to the original. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. When you take a look at the packaging, you can pretty much immediately see that they are related. One is the alternative of the other. Everything other than the colour scheme is identical with the packaging, and there's also, instead of saying first edition, it also says smooth edition on the smooth edition, obviously. One little feature I didn't quite pick up on in my previous review on the first edition is the fact that there was no list of ingredients. The smooth edition does now come with a list of ingredients. If you just look on the back of it, it's got a nice little label, just, you know, for those of you who are interested. So upon opening the product, the first thing you'll notice is the scent. Again, they are pretty much exactly the same when it comes to scent. They both got that nice, like, subtle peppermint smell. It's nothing too prominent, and when you apply it into your hair, that smell goes anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. I just think it's a nice little touch that makes you appreciate the product that little bit more. But again, I'm not really someone who cares much about scent in men's hairstyling products. Now, in terms of the actual contents, the consistency is very, very similar again. The only difference I could sort of really tell is that the smooth edition has more of a tolerance to rubbing it in between your hands. With the first edition, I mentioned this in my last video, with the first edition, whenever you'd rub it between your hands, it would become very fibrous very quickly. The smooth edition still does that, but it has more of a tolerance, so you can rub it that little bit more until it becomes very fibrous and quite sticky. So again, it is kind of suggested that you only spread it across your palm and then apply it, whereas with other products you probably have been taught to warm it up in your hands. You don't want to be doing that with this. At least that's not what I've been doing, and it's been working for me, so just giving my advice. And now comes the biggest difference between the two. A lot of people reported the first edition to be very sticky and very difficult to apply, and I personally believe that to be the biggest downfall for Original by BluMaan. For those of you who already know, I have very, very thick hair, so applying pretty much any product can be quite a struggle for me. I was never able to apply the first edition into dry hair. It would just pull and tug at my hair, and it just was very unpleasant. I wouldn't be able to distribute the product nice and evenly, so what ended up happening is Original by BluMaan was simply a pre-styler for me. Loads of you didn't report any issues, but there was that other half of people who, like myself, couldn't use it as a post-styler, which it was pretty much intended to do. I've been using Smooth for about 2 weeks now, and I first started applying it into damp hair as I normally was. I didn't feel like there was much of a difference between the two. However, I do feel that maybe Smooth was more easier to distribute around damp hair, but again, because your hair is damp, it has so much moisture that all the product can be evenly distributed, even with the first edition. Now, the biggest difference is when it comes to dry hair. So we already know that first edition did not work for me with dry hair. When I was applying the product into damp hair, I was thinking, I'm not sure if this will work into dry hair. I gave it a go, and to my surprise, it did. I'm personally very, very happy with the product because, you know, now I can finally use all of the features it's intended to do. For example, it's a heat protectant, which is great because I can apply that into damp hair. I can then blow dry my hair into place and then use more of Original by BluMaan to finish up the hairstyle. Now, let's talk a little bit about hold. Again, I feel like the only way this product differs is the application process. However, on the BluMaan community Facebook page, quite a few people said that the smooth edition was sacrificing hold. I personally haven't found this to be true, but that's just my experience. I'm not sure whether others are experiencing it differently. But personally, from my experience, I found that the first edition and the smooth edition hold just as well as each other, so I don't feel there is a lot to talk about in that area. And last, but most certainly not least, is whether this product is for you guys at home. If you're someone like me who already owns Original by BluMaan and that works perfectly fine for you, then, you know, why not continue using it? However, when that first edition runs out, I would urge you to perhaps purchase your own smooth edition just to see whether you're in the same position that I am, where you can use it as a pre and post styler. If you find yourself wanting to buy any BluMaan product for that matter, you can use my discount code, which is Luca at checkout, and that will get you 10% off your order. And just before we end this video, I just want to give a quick little shout out to a real life friend of mine who is very into music. She supplied the backing track for this song. It hurts to see someone so talented, so critically underrated. So I really urge you guys to go and just check her out. Let her know that I sent you. She'd very much appreciate it. But until then, I will see you all next week. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.